I wanted to do a video about fear, specifically, basically dealing with fear because we have, quite bad reactions sometimes towards fear, and yet it can be the gateway to some great growth and learning about ourselves. Our initial reaction tends to be, well, it's a scary situation. What I want to do is just get away from it, the fight or flight syndrome. And with that, the general prevailing theory is, oh, I don't like the feelings I'm getting here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run for the hills. And inevitably, the fear stays and keeps revisiting you. Now, there's a time when the fear is just there and there's nothing you can do to evade it. So, in a sense, instead of being able to witness it or being able to kind of walk away or minimize it by using some sort of a technique or something like that, you'll find that, oh no, the fear is just so paralyzing and it's so overwhelming that there's nothing you can do. In that moment, the best thing to do is actually just accept the fact that it's going to be there and allow it to teach you what it needs to teach you. Each emotion and thought and feeling has its place. And sometimes with some of the darker emotions, what we want to do is we want to walk away, and yet they really bring us into the now. They really do teach us something because, as I say, the hour is darkest before the dawn. So sometimes an overwhelming sense of fear should be something that should be accepted, and you should fall into the emotion, so to speak, really, and really experience it. Because I know sometimes what we want to do is we want to have the blissful, joyful feelings, but we don't really, and we don't really want to accept the negative feelings. And yet, as I said, sometimes growth, the growth after these feelings and the knowing after these feelings can be so much more. So to give a real-time example, when I first started speaking, I'd basically been away for about 6, 7 years or so, and worked a succession of jobs, and kind of came to the conclusion that, hold on, this isn't really what I want to do. This, I wish to talk, I wish to communicate, but I absolutely had no idea how I was going to do this. So it was a time of real fear, but fear that wasn't getting away from me. And it reminded me of a quote that President Roosevelt once said when he said, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Because what you'll find is, yes, there may be an underlying issue there, but most times fear is just there. There's nothing really kind of real or concrete about it, but we give it so much worth that it feels very, very real. So after the initial freak out of what have I done, I've walked out of a really good job, and oh my God, how am I going to support myself, and how am I going to pay my rent, and how am I going to do this, and how am I going to do that, and what my peers think of me. By allowing that fear to kind of completely almost overwhelm me, and basically being with that fear, what I found was it dissipated of its own accord, and there was then space for me to actually think. So by basically not even doing that, by just basically being overwhelmed like that, what I found was I was able to buy some space, and I was able to see that it wasn't as bad as I thought. Because one of the things you'll find is when you're in a fearful situation about something, what you'll find is that once you get over that initial madness of oh my God, running around like dance, doing the dance of the headless chicken or whatever, that it inevitably is never as bad as you thought. But once those emotions have been allowed to pass, and that's the important bit, once those emotions and thoughts and feelings have been allowed to pass, what you'll find is that you will, find a little solution to it. So, if you're overwhelmed about something after the fear has passed and dissipated, what you'll find is that all of a sudden there's a surge in productivity. You don't worry so much about, what the outcome will be, and what you do is you just get on with what you need to do. However, you needed to see the darkness in order to, in a sense, come to the light. So fear is a massive topic, and it is something that it doesn't matter how amazing you are or how centered you are gonna from time to time feel that overwhelming, paralyzing fear, regardless of the situation. Whether the situation is, you're going into doing something new for yourself, you're breaking up, you're engaging in something which is nerve-wracking. You'll feel that. And one of the problems that we have with modern society is we're very quick to put a lid on these negative emotions, and when they blow, they blow, and which is why we're seeing records amounts of like violence in our society, domestic violence, violence on the street, anger, record number of divorces, because of the fact that we don't honor our feelings as and how they come up. We've been, in a sense, conditioned to sort of feel one spectrum of feelings, which is it's very good to be positive and it's very good to be happy and joyful, and the other feelings have been, the negative feelings have been given bad press. And yet there is growth. The Sufis talk of this too shall pass, and if you honor that, you'll realize that you will have good days and you will have bad days. You will have days when you're flying, and you'll have days where there's a lot of fear as regards what's going to happen. And if you're able to honor that, accept that, feel what's going to happen, invariably, you will find the solution. Sometimes being in a fearful situation, we can't see the wood for the trees. If we were to accept what's happening as opposed to trying to fight it, as they say, what you resist persists, you'll find that there's a solution within that problem. Every problem comes with a solution, every question comes with an answer, and every fearful moment also comes with its salvation. So by diving into it, by accepting it, allowing it to do what it wants, we come out stronger and wiser. Because once a few of these, rounds of emotions are done, we start seeing the transient nature of it, and we realize that fear, joy, bliss, happiness, sadness, anger aren't real. And we're able, in a sense, to transcend that or step back from it and realize what we truly are, and realize that, yes, okay, these emotions are a part of us, but they're not a massive part of us, and we have the power to actually, in a sense, kind of control that. And we have that power to actually be able to, be so much more. What you then find is, as you go on further in life, you're constantly testing your limits. You're constantly finding that a lot of things that you were scared of or you were fearful of aren't as bad. But sometimes it's good to actually just go into and have that panic, have that freak out. We're being told to act in a certain way, or not enact in a certain way, and this way will lead us to greater freedom, joy, and whatever. And by having these negative things, well, it's not very good. It's we don't do things like that. You see it's especially prevalent on the spiritual scene. So many times I sit there with people, and you can tell they just want to shout. So it's like, well, shout, get angry, get fearful, feel that fear, feel that pain, and as that book once said, feel the fear and do it anyway. But it's like, oh no, we can't act like that, and that inevitably causes tension and allows us more fear and more negative emotions to take hold and take a root in you. And then next thing you know, you've got these people trying to heal themselves from something that, if we allow to naturally pass and allow to naturally let go, you would find that after a while they don't really have a hold on us that we thought. And a lot of the times we give them that power, because as I was saying earlier on, sometimes it's not as bad as we thought. So accept it and allow it to do what it wishes to do, allow it to teach you what it wishes to teach you, and then let it pass as and how it needs to. Don't try to force it. It's not a marathon, it's not a sprint. This is, life's a marathon. Take your time, learn your lessons. What you'll find is inevitably you come out the other side a better person, a wiser person, and so much more centered and focused on what you truly are. So have a good day wherever you are. If you like the videos, please do subscribe to the channel. Also hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All the details on the website, which is at the bottom here. I will be doing some live streams off YouTube in the next couple of weeks. So keep in touch, subscribe to the channel like I was saying, and also keep in touch via all the different social media, and I will let people know. There'll be more informal Q&A sessions so people can kind of send in questions or what have you. So yes, whatever you're doing, have a good day, stay blessed, enjoy yourselves, and thank you to everybody who gives me such great feedback. It's always a joy and a blessing to hear from friends, and it allows me to carry on and do what I need to do. So thank you, have a great day, and I shall see you on the next video.